So why are we picking on the Himiwari today? Well, defenders of the heliocentric model love to point to the quote-unquote almost real-time images from the Himiwari as proof of a globular Earth, since it allegedly gives us a picture every 10 minutes, and the weather data seems to be, pretty current. Well, unfortunately for the ballers, we're going to debunk that completely here, simply in the next 5 minutes, and show you how they fake it all. Let's cut right to the smoking gun to start. Here is the website anyone can go to and see this all for themselves. On a side note, the Himiwari is operated by the Japanese Meteorological Space Agency and brought to us by the NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's GOES geostationary satellite server. And I'll include the links here for all this stuff in the video description, so you can check it out right now if you want. Okay, so when you're at the FTP site, click here for the site description. So when you do, a text file comes up, and you can see right here, they tell you that all of the images in the archive use the underlying colored land images from the NASA Blue Marble dataset. Yep. So the Himiwari is actually totally debunked right there. These aren't real pictures coming from a satellite in a geostationary orbit above the Earth getting snapped every 10 minutes and being beamed down for us to all ooh and ah over. They take the Blue Marble data set, which I'm sure you remember. They admitted years ago was a flat strip data pieced together by an artist named Rob Simon in Photoshop, because it had to be, right? But to move on, and then to just briefly show you how they generate a picture every 10 minutes with what appears to be accurate and current weather. This is basically what they do. Now, don't take my word for it, as I always say. Go check it out for yourself. Number one, they have already created and stored transparent images of the weather over the oceans using climate simulation software, which they openly admit right here that they've done climate simulations up to the year 2095. But it's actually the year 2100 on this FTP server folder, and here's one of the images. And following some of the other images that you can find where the land masses are transparent, and they use all this simulation software to come up with the weather over the oceans. Since our weather data comes from our ground-based Doppler radar, and it's impossible to use ground-based systems to cover the entire vast oceans, so that's where the weather over the oceans comes from, their software simulations. Number two, now for the weather over the land, the NOAA has supercomputers that take data coming in from all over the world, Doppler radar feeds, and crunch it all together and combine it with the weather simulation data over the oceans, so they come up with a complete composite weather quote-unquote map, which is then wrapped around a ball in their 3D modeling software programs, just like we've shown countless times in our previous episodes with the Earth and the planets, etc. So then what we get are composite images like this that are created in the 3D modeling software, the current Doppler weather data over land and the simulated weather over the oceans, and it looks like this. So this particular image is on the FTP server and is date and time stamped with October 11th, 2017 at 11:05 a.m. I just chose one randomly. Notice the image shows you the weather for the whole ball and not just part of the ball that is lit by the sun at this particular time. No Terminator line or anything like that, right? Okay, now here's the kicker. Go to the other file folder, which is the images that we get to see and are told are real pictures from space. But what they've simply done is taken the weather map picture of the whole ball they created and they superimpose it over the Blue Marble data set, just like they said they did. So what you can see here is the final version of what we're spoon-fed and told is a picture taken by the Himiwari from space, like 10 minutes ago. This is the image from the same date and time, October 11th, 2017 at 11:05 a.m. And you can see that the weather is exactly the same. Watch it closely. There's your weather map comprised of simulated and Doppler radar being used to complete a composite image. They do this with the Discover satellite too, the epic camera from a million miles away, they tell us. Ridiculous. Okay. Now, also notice the final image has a Terminator line added in to try and make it look like a real picture from space, which drives a nail in the coffin of the Himiwari because the weather data shows it over the whole ball completely. But they have to add a Terminator line to show the Earth only partially lit by the sun based on the time of day that the photo is allegedly taken. So if this is a real picture, how did they know where to put the clouds and weather on the part of the globe with no sunlight? It's completely dark there. It's all right here, guys. They are faking space. Hey, we all fell for it for a long time with their Doppler radar and weather simulation software building a current weather picture and wrapping it around a ball in 3D software and pasting it onto a black background like they do with all the others, adding a Terminator line and calling it a real picture from space.
Data collection system of Himiwari. Introduction to DCS and DCP. The data collection service of Himiwari is a relay system used to collect observational data from Earth-based observing stations, data collection platforms, or DCPs, that are located within the communication range of Himiwari. The DCS consists of Himiwari, its ground stations, and DCPs. Typical DCPs are found in the form of weather stations at remote sites, tide, tsunami gauges, or instrumented aircraft or ships. The name MTSAT DCS was changed to Himiwari DCS with the operational satellite switchover in July 2015. DCP stations using MTSAT DCS are able to use Himiwari DCS with no change in DCP antenna direction or DCP settings and no reapplication to JMA. DCS is classified into the two categories of international DCS and regional DCS, depending on the range of movement of the supported DCPs. ICDCS is designed to support DCPs on aircraft or balloons that move from the communication range of one satellite to another. RDCS is designed for DCPs located within the communication range of a satellite, such as those placed on isolated islands. DCPs on aircraft or balloons are supported by RDCS while moving with the communication range of a particular satellite. The following sections give further details on Himiwari's RDCS. Data flow in Himiwari. Observational data measured by DCPs are transmitted to Himiwari, which in turn relays them to the ground stations operated by the Himiwari Operations Enterprise Incorporation, HOPE. Data received at HOPE are demodulated and sent to the Meteorological Satellite Center of JMA. Data processed at MSC are handed over to JMA's main telecommunications system and are then reported to DCP's operators over the global telecommunications system of the World Meteorological Organization. For the sake of operators without a GTS network connection, JMA reports the collected DCP data by email and or posts them on the MSC website in addition to delivery via the GTS. If DCP operators wish, the DCP data will be collected at MSC through Himiwari can be delivered by email to the operators and are posted on the website managed by MSC. The website is available only to operators with an account and a password issued by JMA. You can see here these isolated islands, vessels, they transmit up to the Himiwari, as well as ground-based observatories transfer up to Himiwari, tidal observatories up to Himiwari, and Himiwari transfers them back to HOPE, down to MSC, and to the meteorological headquarters. Himiwari is available to organizations that operate DCPs within the communication range of Himiwari, provided that the DCP meets the criteria laid down by JMA. These DCPs are expected to work for the common good internationally in the field, such as conducting activities in the area of meteorological services. Those wishing to use Himiwari to acquire observed data should obtain consent from JMA. Please note that not all applications can be accepted due to the radio frequency channel availability limitations of Himiwari DCS. For other information on arrangement and technical matters, please refer to the page on potential DCP operating organizations. Ships, meteorological observation data, islands, seismic intensity gauge, local meteorological observatory, etc. Transfers data up to the Himiwari. Himiwari transfers data back down to the primary station, operated by Hope, data center operated by Hope, secondary station, antenna site, data center operated by Hope, meteorological satellite center, and finally to the Japan Meteorological Agency. Distribution of DCPs. DCPs, data collection systems, is used to collect data and relay data via Earth-based observation channels, data collection platforms, or DCPs, with the communication of a range of a geostationary satellite such as Himiwari 8. A DCP is an electronic configuration used to collect data from observation and monitoring of oceanic, solid earth, and atmospheric parameters such as temperature, pressure, and tide levels. DCPs within Himiwari's communication range encode and transmit their own observation data to the satellite, which in turn relays the information to ground stations operated by Hope. DCP data are then transmitted to Hope, or by Hope to JMA, which processes the information and provides related products to users. Finally, the data are transmitted back to DCP operators and users via the global telecommunication system. In addition to the DCP support function, the Himiwari 8 supports exchanges of earthquake-related information. The satellite collects seismic intensity data from earthquake observation sites all over Japan. Its DCS also supports dissemination of emergency tsunami earthquake information within the Himiwari 8 communication range. The two DCS systems are the International DCS and the Regional DCS. IDCS is designated to support DCPs hosted on ships that sail beyond the communication range of the Himiwari 8 and into those of the other geostationary meteorological satellites. RDCS is designed to support fixed DCPs such as automated remote weather stations and tide and tsunami gauges, and also DCPs on ships that retain or remain within the communication range of Himiwari.